After 2 days, remember we were taking supper around 8. We had a knock. So back in my mind, I could not think it can be him. When I went to open the door, the person that I saw is him. It was so painful. I remember nilishika mlango hivi. I don't want him to come in. The kids come rushing. Kwao ni the dad. I was left in a status of, do I allow him to come in? These are the kids. The guy is so weak, terribly weak. I started crying. Kaingia kwa nyumba, he sat down. I didn't say anything, but I cried the whole night. The whole night. So when morning came, the guy was so weak that, he had swollen all over. From the legs, face, hands, everywhere was yellow. So I called this colleague who is a family friend to us. And I asked him, why are you so and so? Luckily, he was in town. I told him to come. By then, I didn't have a car. He had a car, Yakazi, but when they dropped him, they went with the car. So I told this colleague to come, we take him to the hospital. And indeed, he came. We took him to the hospital that they were going as a company around Gong Road. So when we went there, the same doctor who was used to seeing him in a normal checkup could look at him and was like, no, Masai, what happened to you? By then, he's very weak. He could not eat anything. Even walking was a struggle. So after he was examined, they took whatever they wanted. The doctor said, we have to admit him. So do this, go to imaging, I need this test, I need this test, I need this test. So when it came, they said they wanted to do a surgery. They did a surgery, not an open surgery, how does it? Laparoscopy. The one that you will be taken through, but there is nowhere utakatakatwa, they use the machines. And now after that surgery, plus the report, that is when I was told, your husband has cancer, pancreatic cancer, stage 4. That is why all this is happening, jaundice, swelling and everything. The uncle who had stood with me all this long came. I remember he asked him very, very hard question when he was in hospital bed. And he asked me, so and so, I'll ask you this question because it is not me who has power to keep somebody alive or, I won't make you die or live. Where is so and so? Where is the lady that has made Esther suffer all this much? I can't believe it is Esther I'm finding with you here. I expected so and so to be here, not her. That is when he started crying, and I remember that is when he gave his life back to Christ at Nairobi Hospital. And it was very, very painful to me. That day I went home and I was in pain, totally pain, because one, when people knew that so and so is back in that status, my friends kept off because they knew what he had taken me through. My family kept off because they could not comprehend totally that it is the same person you're taking care of. So they kept off completely. I remember that day when I went home, I was in pain, a lot of pain. I didn't have even a house girl. I had a very good landlord who was taking my kids from school wanakaa na hao until I come. I was really struggling to make ends meet. And the same person who is supposed to be there earning very good money, we never saw anything from him. I remember I knelt in my couch and I prayed and I told God, God, on my own, I cannot be able to take care of this man. He has taken me through a lot. He has taken us through a lot. God, how can I be able to take care of him? And I always tell to people, never joke with the vows that we take. It is then I started hearing the voices in my ears. The vows came. I heard the vows. Until I asked God. I was so bitter with God. So bitter with him. And I asked God, why are you bringing those, the vows in my ears? They really came. I could hear them, the vows that I was taking. It was so painful and I was so bitter with God. And after that, I knelt down and I told God, indeed, for me to honor those vows, I cannot be able on my own. Give me grace, give me strength to honor them to the end. And indeed, God is a faithful God. He gave me the grace. After 1.5 months, he was discharged. He went home. And I remember the insurance cover, it elapsed to Kiwa Nairobi Hospital. So when we went home, he could not go back to work because, the condition he was in. Cancer is not a good disease. And for the next 4 months, he became a very good, the health came back and he became very stable. And it's like I had hope that everything is well.
Okay.
But after 4 months again, his health changed completely. I remember that time now I took him now to Aga Khan Hospital. My life changed completely. It was hospital work. Hospital work, because after 2 days, he's back kutolewa maji. After 2 weeks, he's back for chemo. And every chemo session, I was spending over 21,000. Mind you now, I had to borrow even loans. We had to sell some of the assets. I was left with this man all alone. Something that really drains someone psychologically, emotionally, financially, call it everything. And I remember for 2 years, 4 months, I walked that journey alone. It reached a point he realized, indeed I am going. And I remember sometime when we were in the sitting room, he would look at the kids, unamuliza Johnson, ni nini? Anajifunikia anaanza kulia. So definitely it is what is in his mind. When that doctor called me, he told me, on his face, you are the next of kin, yes. Talk to your hubby, because if he has to live long, he has 6 hours to live. And indeed, I think the following day, when we went in the morning, we didn't find him. God rested him around 5 a.m. in the morning after walking a very painful journey of 2 years, 4 months.
So when you got the news that he had passed on, what did that feel like?
It really hit me because I think I was not prepared for his death. I was, in me, I felt God can do a miracle.
You wanted him to leave?
Yes, at some point I would even tell God, can you heal this man, even if he won't reconcile? He lives his own life, I live my own life, such that if the kids want to go and see him, they can go and see the dad. So in me, despite his condition, I was not prepared for death. I remember even my bishop later, they were really talking and it's like, Esther, we were looking at you and we were like, hey, we could see him going, but you are very, very confident he is leaving. So it was not easy for me. And I remember the words that I asked, what will I tell the children?
What did you tell them?
Nothing. I think we came to discuss about him 2 years ago. I didn't know what to tell them because they were also very small. They were young even to comprehend about death. And I remember even after now, we started another moment of preparing the funeral and what have you. I remember that very day when we were going to arrest him because my kids were very small. When we were viewing the body, because he was at Chiromo, my sister brought my kids to see the dad. And pale kwa coffin, that part that has a grass, my daughter was he felt like it's like a horror thing. So she would try to, she thought it is, she can push her hand and raise the dad. And my son was there shouting, Dad, amka, until everybody left. They were left.
When was his death? Which year?
2015, January 27, that is when he rested. We rested him in Nakuru, and I can tell you, I saw his family. My family, apart from my 2 sisters, the friends, niliwaona kwa mazishi. So all this time I was left alone with him. And we rested him. I remember even during the burial, the mother didn't, there were a lot of pastors because by then, before things happened, my hubby had really served. So there were a lot of pastors in the burial. And I remember during the photo session, she was called for a photo session. She didn't. They tried to call him, come, we take up. She didn't.
The mom now?
The mom, yeah. And I remember even when we were going to the graveside now, he never came near the graveside. Hakurushia hata mtoto wake mchanga. I understand aliachwa na huko nyuma na wamama, they were just the friends. You know, to them they were just, it was just normal. They were laughing and doing sort of things. So na tukamzika, and my status now changed to a widow.